We rewrite history all the time, so why not the future? This motivational message is given in today's movie. What if we discover time travel, and people in the future keep traveling back to the past to change it again and again? Either they can cause some serious multiverse issue, or it is what is meant to happen in the first place. Welcome to every recap ever, and today we will do a recap of the movie called Relax, I Am from the Future. So relax, I am going to start a recap. Before we begin, be sure to like and subscribe to our channel for more movies like this. A bunch of children were playing in the park. Suddenly, a man in a purple suit comes running towards them. Everyone gets scared and runs away. He tries to lick goalpost. A man sees this absurd behavior and gets angry. The man in the purple suit is actually trying to open his mouth since he was suffocating. Before he says anything, he gets knocked down. Later, he goes to the grocery store and asks a girl for something to write on. Girl pulls a pen out of her hair and gives it to him. The man's name is Casper. He is from the future. Not sure what year, but you can assume that it is more than 100 years from now. It will make sense. While writing a letter near a garbage dump, he notices a penny. He again arrives at the store and tells her that he wants to place a bet. She gave him paper to place his bets, but he couldn't understand anything. Girl advises him to use money and take a bus and leave. He arrives at the bus stop. He thinks everything is designed to frustrate himself. While waiting for the bus, he asks an old woman for library. He arrives at the library and starts his research. He went through the events that have already happened. We are still not sure what his purpose is, but it will make sense later. Just stick with me. He spends hours in the library. Eventually he falls asleep. The librarian asks him to leave. He roams around the city for a while. He tries to buy a hot dog but realizes that he needs money to survive. He sits on the road like a homeless person. Meet Holly, who lives with her girlfriend. They hang out while eating nachos, but Holly didn't like its taste. She decided to give all of it to the homeless person, who was Casper. Casper accepts nachos and eats it. He recognized the band on her t-shirt. She tells him that she is going to their concert and invites him, even if her friend said not to invite him. Later, they all hang out while enjoying the band. Outside, Casper told her that she should enjoy this band while it lasts. In future, this band gets pretty bad. They make bad music and never perform like they are doing now. Holly explores more about Casper's past. She comes to know that Casper is really from the future. He can only travel backwards. So, there is no time machine in the future. But after 3 years, random portals start appearing and people can only travel backwards in time using these portals. Also, these portals only point to the specific time only, which is when the Casper arrives. Casper claims that he has a plan. Holly doesn't believe him, so Casper decides to prove it to her. In exchange, he gets to sleep on her couch. They get to cafe and occupy the table. He knows something about the waiter in the cafe. His name is Percy.
Hello, Percy.
He asks him about his sketches. Holly is confused. Percy is a famous artist in the future, but people discover his art after he is dead. Holly asks him about multiple timelines he is creating by interfering with the past.
No, that's ridiculous.
He also tells her that everyone from the future only teleports to this time in the past. He tells her to look outside. Balls start dropping from the sky and Percy receives a ball with Joker. Casper explains that a plane cargo loses his shipment and people remember this in future. Percy, on the other hand, takes it personally. Holly invites him home and lets him stay. Casper explains he has more data in his mind. All the stocks, sports, and everything from the next 20 years. He wrote down some of the stuff on his hand too. They decide to use Casper's knowledge to earn money as part of their Phase 1 plan. They share a drink. In the plot twist, a woman gets a message saying hello on her device. Her name is Doris. Someone else arrives from the future. A woman asks him about his status or statics. She vaporizes him with her gun. Another one arrives and she eliminates her too. Finally, she gets a moment to herself and decides to enjoy her birthday.
Hello!
She arrives at the location at the same time we first see Casper in the beginning of the movie. Casper manages to run away. Because of the man who stops her, she vaporizes him too. So, her device tells how significant this person is to the future. Now 3 months have passed. Holly and her friends start betting on sports and start earning money. Casper talks to older people and ensures them to pass on their items in future by preserving them. He asks Holly to meet him at the cafe from before. She brings him an X-ray device. As part of their Phase 2, which is
Saving the world.
Right.
he gives Holly a letter and asks her to deliver it to Betty before a specific time, who was the same old woman we saw earlier. Meanwhile, he needs to take some business involving Percy. He takes a cab and gets to his home in the woods. He pays rent to the man sitting in the chair. He opens the bunker and gets inside. He is preserving all the things that old people gave to him and buried them in the ground. He has lots of antique stuff. Later, outside the bunker, he has multiple microwaves running. His friend arrives there and asks him what he is doing. He explains that he wants to put radiation in the place for future himself to find it. Percy, on the other hand, wakes up and decides to harm himself. His room is filled with all the sketches and ball he got from before. In the next scene, he records the video where he shows his sketches and explains how he was a failure and never successful. Casper arrives in time and stops him. Holly wakes up and realizes she is late to deliver that letter. She rushes towards the address, but it was too late. The person was already gone, and it was a goodbye letter to Betty, which we saw earlier. Meanwhile, Casper explains to Percy that he will be famous in future. His artwork was discovered by everyone after he died by jumping over the edge instead of shooting himself. Casper himself is a big fan of the character he created. He inspires people. This reminds me of the Doctor Who episode where he brings Vincent van Gogh to his own art gallery. One of the best Doctor Who episodes ever made. Percy changes his mind and decides not to harm himself. While distracted, he tries to take the gun from Casper but fails. Casper tells him that he is supposed to jump from the edge. He doesn't want to change the future. He even tries to shoot Percy but couldn't do it. Doris gets a message about Percy's coordinates from an unknown number. Looks like she knows that something has changed in the past. Meanwhile, Holly explains to her girlfriend about her booking system and how she is getting rich. Casper calls her and asks her to meet. Doris arrives in the woods. She looks like some sort of time police who makes sure that everything happens the way it is supposed to be.
Snakes? Time travel? They did what? How the f did...
Holly meets Casper in Percy's home and he tries to explain the situation. They get in an argument while Percy hides in another room. Holly is scared that she will be caught by police. Meanwhile, Percy gets a call from Doris and tells him what to do. Percy gets out and Casper takes him to the woods. There he finds his friend hiding his microwaves. Doris arrives and signals Percy. Percy takes a gun and holds Holly hostage. Doris asks Casper about his status or statics.
Stasis or static!
He tells her that there is some code but couldn't remember. She spares his life. In the next scene, we see that she is interrogating Casper to get to know his intentions. It was revealed that Casper has no plan, no goal. He just arrived in the past because he was lonely in the future. He wanted to preserve some of the stuff from the past, but he had no particular goal as such.
Have fun.
Doris claimed that she is Sentinel and she is supposed to stop people like Casper who arrive in the past and mess things up. Doris vaporized Casper's landlord friend. Doris also reveals that after convergence, nothing will matter. Everyone is going to die anyway. Alright, there is an apocalypse scenario in the future. In 53 years, our planet experiences earthquakes and solar storms which wipes out all digital data and satellites. Government collapses and billions of people lose their lives. Holly gets mad at Casper because he knew about this and hid it from everyone. Doris, on the other hand, admits that she is lonely and she wants somebody from her own time period. She starts to flirt with Casper. He plays along with her twisted fantasy and tries to convince her to let Holly go. Doris denies his request and threatens to wipe her out from existence. Percy makes a brave move and points a gun at her. Doris laughs and she casually takes Percy's weapon from him. In amidst the chaos, they hear noise. Doris tries to investigate. In the plot twist, Casper from another time attacks her. They get into fight. Holly manages to grab her weapon and points towards Doris. She vaporizes her. Percy sees the opportunity and gets out of there. Older version of Casper wakes up. Old Casper reveals that Percy must be eliminated. He asks Holly to find him and kill him. He tells her that she was right about the time loop and we shouldn't break it. Percy and us are the reason for the convergence and apocalypse that is going to happen in the next 53 years. Holly finally agrees and goes after Percy. Old Casper then explains from where he is coming from. So buckle up, everyone. This is going to be tricky. This event is happening for the second time. In the first time, Doris manages to kill Holly, but Percy stops her. He then makes Casper his hostage and decides to stop the apocalypse himself. He was desperate to stop it, so he made major changes in timeline and talked to everyone about the upcoming event. He tried to be hero. He knows everything about Casper and the future, so he tries to manipulate it himself. One day, Casper sees the opportunity and gets out of there. He remembered the coordinates of the first time travel portal, so he went there and waited 2 years for it. Then, using the portal, he gets back again at the same time when main Caspers arrives. He then enjoys his life this time. He gets to the wrong roof and watches past himself holding gun against Percy. He screws up second time. He didn't want to wait for another 3 years for the portal, so he texted the Doris Percy's coordinates and made this happen. Now, according to the new plan, Holly kills Percy, and old Casper called the cops on her because she was loose end. They will capture her and he will go to jail. Timeline will remain unchanged. But there were 2 Casper now, so one of them had to go.
I probably shouldn't have done it in front of you. Sorry, good luck. Be a better person. Good night.
Okay, that was pretty screwed up. When Casper gets out of bunker, he sees that Holly didn't kill Percy and calms him down. Now Casper wants to kill Percy, but Holly is not going to let that happen. She is going to help Percy to stop convergence and save billions. But Casper is against that. He doesn't want to change the future. They get into a heated argument and Percy again tries to run. Holly and Casper get into a Mexican standoff. Casper decides to pull the trigger, but Holly intervenes. As a result, he gets a bullet in his leg, and Percy starts the car and runs away. What a chaos, right? Several months later, Percy writes a book about the future and he gets famous. He meets Holly. He gives her some stuff that he found in Doris' condo. He says that he is doing his part by telling the truth and saving the world. Casper and Holly spend time together. He asks her about Percy. He finally stops fighting and lets everyone do what they want to do. Turns out they were in the same bunker, and Molly is also part of a new plan with her girlfriend, and they are going to change the future. Casper quotes, "We rewrite history all the time, so why not the future?" Which is the best line I have heard in a while. Anyways, the movie ends with Casper enjoying his music and someone knocking on his bunker asking for his status and statics. Whatever the hell that means. He answers the door using his vaporizing weapon. That's all, everyone. Be sure to like and subscribe and change our future. See you next time.